Yeah, so we're going to talk a bit about manufacturing efficiency and sort of how Odoo ERP can help with that. This day, I'm just going to speak a bit about who Smart IT are, and the efficiency has come from some of the main themes that we have taken from clients as we speak with clients and going about work. So obviously, this is myself, Nick Harvey, and then Alex is one of our partners, a company called EMAsphere. He's going to talk at the end about some of the reporting capabilities within Odoo and EMAsphere.
Hi,
So
everybody.
yeah, cheers, Alex. Thank you. So yeah, who are Smart IT? So we're the UK's only gold Odoo partner. We've been involved with Odoo since 2011 when it used to be called Open ERP. And since lockdown, we've seen quite a large sort of growth in the number of UK users in Odoo. Previously, it used to be more mainstream, sort of Europe and the Far East, but I think more and more now it's becoming into the UK. And Odoo that itself has recognised that a little bit with starting to do a bit more marketing towards in the UK. Obviously, we seen an increase since lockdown. I think a lot of that is to do with companies looking to reduce costs and move to sort of cloud-based solutions by replacing some of those more legacy ERP systems. So yeah, we're going to look through a number of themes that are raised by our clients when we initially sort of engage with them. I'd say about 70% of our clients are manufacturing sector, ranging from manufacturing canoes and skis to sort of frozen fish. So it's just some of the challenges they came across and how we helped, or how Odoo helped with some of those functionalities. So yeah, we've actually got a bit of a demo as well later on with one of my colleagues, Jamie. He's going to run through a bit of a manufacturing demo. So yeah, so some of the current challenges in manufacturing, sort of supply chain disruption. We've seen more of this since the pandemic. More and more clients are keen to have monitoring on their suppliers to make sure they're keeping to lead times. With a lot of more people bringing components in from abroad, a delay with a consistent poor performance supplier can cause issues to sort of production. And in some cases, we've seen where production was stopped because a container is stuck in a port somewhere. So just keeping a track of it and keeping on top of it is important. Regulatory compliance. This is a bit more from in my experiences in the food and beverage industry, and having government bodies that can make changes. So if it's gone from the EU to now just be in the UK, or the British government imposing making tax digital or something like that, you need a system that's flexible, one that can be adapted and changed as quickly as you need to be in a cost-effective basis. Cost pressures is a fairly obvious one, certainly with the period of inflation that we've had at the moment and the epidemic coming out of that. The companies have looked at costs, and having a substantially lower annual cost. Obviously, those legacy systems could have high annual costs, which adds to those cost pressures. Legacy systems, once again, we have a number of clients with old legacy systems that are either hosted on premise. They don't have the flexibility that the sort of modern ERP systems have. And we found that whole company's systems and processes have been created to fit those old legacy systems, which can be outdated. They've been, producing something or on a basis which is no longer as effective or efficient. And they're not able to adapt to those new systems because they've got an old legacy ERP system that can't be customized or can't be configured that way. And in some cases, these legacy systems they're not even supported anymore. So again, we've seen situations where they've got some old systems stuck in a server in the back of a room, and nobody's allowed to touch it or go in the room and things like that. So it's just creates challenges to the manufacturing sector by increasing or adding to the inefficiency. So I spoke a little bit about the impact on each of those ones. Oh yeah, sorry, what I missed was the inventory and delays to demand planning, which I think we sort of holistically spoke about, but it's effectively having the right amount of stock on hand for when you need it. And this is a little bit what the impact is about as well. We've seen sort of production delays. I spoke about stopping in production, which then misses deadlines, or it means there isn't enough stock for a high demand period. You know, there's operational costs for then having to go out and fix those issues, get more stock in, or, you know, get from a more expensive supplier or something like that at shorthand. You know, and it causes sort of backup of clients not getting the stock when they need it. And you know, in the food and beverage industry, it means stock going off, other components going off while you're waiting for stuff. So it's important to be able to keep a track of your inventory, keep a track of where your demand is at. And you don't want a situation where you've got too much stock or too less stock. Obviously, that increased stock or it, you know, in the warehouse is a cost. It then impacts on sales, which then reduces profit, and then that profit has an impact on the further in the business, in that you're not able to sort of, you know, your R&D's down, or you're not being able to develop the people you want to develop people. So it can have an impact across the whole business. But fortunately, Odoo has a solution. I'll just talk a bit about Odoo first, Jamie, before I hand over to you, if that's all right. Odoo is a sort of highly configurable open source range of about 80 plus connected modules, which sort of helps you run your entire business. So it's got modules which come from website builder, CRM, HR, e-commerce. It's got the full range, and effectively what you can do is, you know, process a sale on a website that you've built through to a sales order, through to manufacturing order, to get it produced into your inventory, sold out to your customer, and then, you know, it goes off to the accounting to get paid, or it can then go into field service for the other part of it. So it's meant to sort of be able to run your entire business. We're finding more and more cases, because new versions of Odoo have been released in the past. We're finding more and more cases where it's more configurable. It fits the modern day of how sort of manufacturing and sort of inventory systems work. It's cost effective. So the most expensive version of Odoo that allows for customizations is €28 per user per month. And so if by magic, we're going to have a quick demonstration, just a number of the features in the manufacturing module. Obviously, we're a bit time constrained on what we can show you in the next sort of 15 minutes. So if there's further things that you want to see, we can arrange sort of separate demos to go through that. After we've had the demo, I'll run through a quick case study, and then I'll hand over to Alex to look at the sort of reporting sort of side of the stuff. So, Jamie, are you all right to take the screen?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me just share my screen now. Okay, so could you just let me know when you can see that, just so I know when to start?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So this is Odoo 18. So what I've got here, I'm going to show you a really quick make-to-order sales flow. So it's going to be a sales order into a manufacturing order, into delivery, and obviously the production of the product in the middle of that. So we're using Blackpool Rock, which is obviously local to us as a business from Blackpool. It's basically a suite, but we make it out of Lego because it's fun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a sales order. I'm just going to select new here. We're going to select a random customer. I'm just going to choose Mosala. And we're going to select our product as Blackpool Rock. I'm just going to do one, and you can see here that is available. So this here is a forecasted button. If that's green, it means you've got the products in stock. We're able to make this product. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to confirm this order, and you're going to see straight away that goes to a sales order, and we've got delivery and manufacturing made immediately. So Odoo is really well integrated within itself, so you can jump from app to app seamlessly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click manufacturing, and that's going to take me directly to our manufacturing order. It's going to tell me exactly what we're going to need. So we're going to be using 1, 10, and 6 of each product. We've just got 3 components to this product, and with this we've got 3 work orders. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select plan, and I'm going to jump again using our using our buttons up here to the shop floor application. And if I just remove this, and you see here, the manufacturing order I just made number 29, step 1, bottom layer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press the start button and I'm going to select the worksheet. So this is going to give us some instructions, it's a bit zoomed in, of what we need to do. So we're just going to place 5 red bricks in a line. Once that's done, you can just close that and you're able to select mark as done. This will now grey itself out. And I've just accidentally turned myself off, there we go. And you can see that step 2 has now come to the forefront and we're able to select start on step 2 and access the worksheet. And once again, we've just got some more instructions of what we're doing. We're just placing 3 blue bricks, 1 black and 3 blue on top. We're then going to select markers done again, and we're going to see that's going to grey out and it's going to jump over here. So we've got a nice order, and step 3 comes to the forefront once again. And then going to select go again, and this. So what I'm doing here when I'm pressing that button, just to explain a bit more detail, is I am starting a timer. So if you're interested in knowing how long each individual employee or component is taking to make, this will tell you exactly how that does. And you see here, we've got the steps, and we're going to say this is what it should look like finished. I'm just going to select pass because it looks just like that, and we're going to get the same page again. I'm just going to select pass again. So you can have multi-levels of approvals and make sure that everything looks okay, and we're going to select markers done once again, and we're going to choose close production. So that product is now completely produced, and you can see here that I've got no actions available and that manufacturing order has nothing linked to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use our breadcrumbs, and I'm going to jump straight back to our sales order. And if I jump into our manufacturing, you're going to see here that it's now set to a done status. You can see that automatically in the background, when I close the production, it automatically moves to done. And this is now ready to be delivered. So if I jump into the sales order and select delivery, you're able to see here that the demand is 1, the quantity is 1, and that we're able to validate that. And that is now a completed sales order. Obviously, I didn't do a invoice there because of time constraints, but obviously from here we're able to create invoices, and if you need to purchase anything, you can do anything like that. And I think that's just about all I've got for you today. So I think I'll hand back over to Nick.
Yeah, cheers, Jamie. I'll just share my screen again.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, guys. So yeah, Whittam Oil is a bit of a case study here. Whittam Oil, they're actually the largest manufacturer of oil in the sort of oil and lubricants in the country. But they white label a lot of stuff. So sort of what that was causing them issues with was sort of on the production side of things. They were then having to print sort of various labels and different cans off and label and sort of stick those processes on. With their old sort of system, I think it was Microsoft Dynamics, they weren't able to either integrate with another system to help them with that labeling process, or do the labeling process within Odoo. We actually, because they were able to do it, so what that meant was they had sort of a whole team sort of sticking these labels on, going away and printing. It was a very laborious and sort of time-consuming process. So we were able to take a lot of that and bring it into Odoo. And it meant that rather than a team, it's now reduced down to one guy. They've moved the team onto other things within the company, helping with efficiencies other places. And I think the increased revenue and the speed of stuff that they're able to do, it's put about 20,000 a week on their bottom line in terms of the more orders they're able to get through. So it's been quite important for them. Some of the other points they've raised about them is sort of delivery and inventory invoicing has been good for them as well, because they're obviously delivering to sort of rural farms and things like that quite a lot, and they're able to use that on sort of handle that a lot more slicker when going out to these guys. So that's why they came to us. We went and we placed it, and been a client for a number of years now. Our aim is always to be your partner, to work with you to help Odoo to grow in your business, to really sort of come on site, to understand your businesses, understand what you're trying to achieve, and yeah, you want an ERP system that's working with you as opposed against you, and yeah, that's what our aim is. It's to be your partner for the long term. Alex, all right to hand over to you.
Sure. Yes. Thank you so much, Nick. I will share my screen if you can as well confirm that it works here. Okay. Do you see my screen, Nick?
Yeah, all good.
Okay, perfect. So good morning, everyone. So I'm Alexandre. I'm working at EMAsphere, a SaaS reporting platform. What I suggest today in terms of agenda is first to introduce you to the partnership between EMAsphere and Smart IT and why we have developed this strong partnership to focus on EMAsphere differentiating approach on reporting automation. We will obviously highlight specific use cases where coupling EMAsphere to Odoo will bring a strong added value, and we will finish with a quick demo so that you can see EMAsphere in action. If we start with the partnership between Smart IT and EMAsphere, so actually our relationship started with the implementation of their internal dashboard. They were looking for a tool that would help them extract and leverage all the different data flows they were using in Odoo to have a reporting at their fingertip, tailored to each user. As they were very pleased with the project and quite amazed by both the ease of use and the fact that it's seamlessly connected to Odoo. They decided to distribute the solution to their clients, focusing on, let's say, advanced reporting features where we could really bring added value coupled to Odoo ERP. We now have a proven track record of happy joint clients that could take control of their data, of course, including in the manufacturing sector. That was for the introduction on the partnership. Now, if we move to EMAsphere differentiating approach, maybe to start with, before deep diving into that, important statement, reality that you must all share is that companies are becoming more and more data-driven and really embracing technology. I'm working at EMAsphere for 6-7 years now, and it's true that what used to be a nice to have is really becoming a must have. Having automated reporting at your fingertip is really a must have today. That being said, it was not that easy. Of course, there are a lot of, let's say, traditional business intelligence tools on the market. I think, for example, about Power BI, for example. These tools are very powerful. They are great tools, but to be honest, they are not adapted to, let's say, mid-market companies. Why? Because first of all the data collection and data structuring is complex, it's long, it's costly to develop. You need specific IT skills to do so. Second, you always start from a blank sheet with a BI. So again, it's long to set up. The business is not in the driver's seat at all, so it can be quite complex projects to handle, and also they are quite static. So the business is not in the driver's seat when they need to do some evolutions on the reporting. Also, maintenance is a problematic because typically Odoo is great because it delivers a lot of releases. The ERP is always improving, which is fantastic, but you need, of course, to maintain the connectors. Typically with BI tools, this is a problem where we will see that with EMAsphere approach, it will be fully embedded. Based on these observations, we were created by, let's say, gray hair CFO that really wanted to tackle the issues that I just mentioned. So first, it's really about automation. The idea is really to, let's say, unburden the financial and business teams from all the technical hassle that is the collection and structuring of the data. And the idea is really to automatically transform and structure all the different data flows. Second is to embed expertise in the platform. I mentioned that with BI tools, you always start from a blank sheet. Here, the idea is that when we have collected and structured the data, it will always be, the data will be, let's say, welcomed in a pre-structured templates that can be very easily customized according to your needs, obviously. But the idea, again, is not to start from a blank sheet. So if we look at this a little bit more in detail, how does it work? So we have created a catalog of, let's say, 250 connectors, of course, including Odoo connectors that are ready to use, both on financial and extra financial streams of data. Typically, again, if we take the case of Odoo, of course, we have a connection to the accounting module, but we can also fully automatically extract all the different data flows that would be in Odoo. When we leverage on this range of connectors, we will structure the data in our own data models. It might be a bit technical, but it's very important because it means that we can very easily work on multi-data flows or multi-systems. Nick spoke about the legacy of systems and so on and so on. Typically, if you have, for example, entities that are on one accounting system and other entities that are not on another accounting system, this is not a problem for us because, again, the data will be structured in the same data model. Also, in terms of migration, it's very good because we can switch from one connector to another, from one system connection to another, without losing historization of the data and specific settings. So typically in a project of migration, you might have phases where you migrate one or two entities at the beginning, and then you migrate extra entities. Here we can really switch, for example, the connection from, I don't know, a NetSuite to Odoo. In 1 hour, we just switch the connector and you still have your reporting at your fingertip. So it's very useful. As mentioned, when this automation on data collection and structuring is done, we welcome the data in pre-structured reporting, and thanks to 3-4 half days workshop, you would be fully autonomous in the platform, and we would be able to complete personalized setting adapted to your needs. Of course, the idea is also to really create views based on your needs. So we work in unlimited licenses. Why? Because we want to help you collaborate more efficiently on the data. And we know that to collaborate efficiently on data, you need to adapt the visualization of the data to each of your stakeholders, which can be external, typically investors, for example, or internal, depending on the team we are addressing, the board, the sales team, of course, the financial team, and so on and so on. This is for EMAsphere approach. Now, of course, Odoo has already strong embedded reporting capabilities. It's important to highlight. This slide is really focusing on where we do bring strong added value coupling to Odoo. And I mentioned some of these elements. First is the multi-data sources. So that's very important. We work very easily with different data sources, typically on the same stream of data or on different streams of data. We are very strong on consolidated reporting, typically intercompany flow management, for example. So if you are a multi-entity company, multi-site company, multi-department company, and so on, we can really help you and bring added value in terms of time saving and reliability for consolidated reporting. We are able to very easily inject and create budgets and forecasts in EMAsphere. To work on a lot of cash analysis dimension. We have a library of widgets focused, for example, on cash analysis, and we can obviously also create specific KPIs, graph or tables based on your needs. We would collect all the analytics. Typically, we have global analytics filters in the platform. So if you want to have analytical P&L, for example, it's very simple to complete in EMAsphere. And also the data historization, as we would historize every injection of data in EMAsphere to enable you to very quickly come back to a picture of your data at a specific time, for example, and also being able to retrieve dynamically the data. So to come back to how your data look like today. So it's really about having historization and dynamic views of your data. This was for the introduction. I will go quickly into the platform to give you, let's say, a look and feel, a taste of how it works. Obviously, we can set up a much more detailed demo according to your needs after the webinar. So I enter in EMAsphere. Obviously, it can be white label and so on and so on. Typically, to start with, here you have a lot of different views in EMAsphere. Here, I really start on what we call the plug-and-play finance. Basically, if we connect to the accounting module of Odoo, we would straight away collect the data in this structure of reporting. So it's really the basics. Obviously, for complex reporting needs, it's only a step. It's a step before moving, let's say, into what we call finance plug and adapt. That is specific settings for your financial reporting needs. So you have a consolidation module. You can really very quickly create sub-consolidation, for example, create specific access for a specific entity or site, responsible for one entity or site, for example. So you can really very easily play with your consolidation of data. As mentioned, we historize all the injections of data, and you can very quickly understand the scope of data you are working on and come back to the past if you want. You can also use the calendar. We handle multi-currency in EMAsphere, also very important. Reporting exchange rate, budget exchange rate, closing exchange rate, and so on. Ability to create analytical filters to filter all the dashboard on analytics, but also create some specific groupings of analytics straight away in EMAsphere. Here you have the submenus. Obviously, you can create the submenus as you want. The idea, again, is really to put you in the driver's seat, to make you fully autonomous on the use of the platform. I won't go into every menu today, but important to emphasize that everything is double clickable in the platform, which means that you can, for example, deep dive into one figure, see the different here categories of revenues, for example, understand what accounts are linked to this category, deep dive into the accounting entry to really understand what is behind a figure. And obviously, you can play with the data in a reliable way. Typically, for example, I don't know, I want to structure my data per entity, for example. Obviously, you can adapt the chart of accounts per entity, and so on and so on. Once done, you can really create all the views that you want in EMAsphere. Typically, for board, here you have a ESG reporting. Obviously, we are not here anymore on financial data. But here we have created for the board, on the client's request, ESG reporting with governance data, with social data, for example. And then we can really focus as well on, let's say, a sectorial view. So typically here, this is one example of a production, an environment based on a client in the manufacturing sector, where we would help him on following the cash, for example, the cash flow, cash balances, cash movements, month's operational cash burn, the runaway, very important to follow, obviously, to create some cash forecast, cash forecast in the platform, also based, for example, on the run rate, have some analysis per product, for example, or the performance and production. So maybe to summarize this introduction today, the idea is really to have a tool that would collect and structure all the different data flows that you have with a seamless connection to Odoo especially, and then to create the different views that are needed to collaborate on the reporting and really to improve financial performance by saving time and having a reliable, consolidated reporting. Yeah, mainly that was it for my introduction. Of course, I would be happy to understand a little bit more your challenges on reporting and see the added value we can bring to you. Thank you. I think, Nick, that was for my part. I hope I was on timing, and I give it back to you.
Cheers, Alex. Thank you. Yeah. So, of course, obviously, all we tried to do is give you a bit of a flavour of what the various systems can do. Yeah, the aim is if you guys want to have a further demo or have any further questions, to contact us. However, if you do want to have some questions answered immediately, then there's a bit of a Q&A. So, yeah, floor's open. If you have any questions for either myself, Jamie, or Alex, please let us know.
All right, perfect. We'll just give everyone a few minutes to get their questions in, and then we'll start fielding some.
Cheers, thank you.
Yeah, first question is always the hardest, then in general it flows.
So have you got the ones from ready-made ones, or?
Yeah, so first question is, can Odoo integrate with other systems?
Yes, it can. Yeah, so Odoo is open source. So yeah, being able to integrate with other systems, it just needs looking at the APIs and see how they sort of talk to each other. Odoo itself has quite a varied third-party market, much like the app stores and things like that. However, some of these need to be treated with care and consideration, and they're not all as greatly built as some of the systems. So that's why we do a bit of work with them and have sort of recognized partners and things like that. But yeah, effectively, openly, it can be integrated with other systems.
Okay, and another Odoo question is, how easy is it to import data?
Yeah, it's always a crux of any implementation that you do, is that data import. We do have sort of a few tools to help with that. Obviously, the easiest way is sort of templates and uploading and sort of extracting the data from your old system into a CSV file or a spreadsheet, and then importing that spreadsheet into Odoo. Can take a bit of sort of handling and to get that process through, but it's fairly pain-free. We do have other tools for various other accounting systems in bringing the entire history over and through with us. So again, it's a case-by-case basis, but there are multiple ways in which it can be handled.
All right, perfect. Then, Alex, I've got a question for you, which is, how long does it take to implement EMAsphere?
Okay, so very good question. Again, the idea of EMAsphere is in opposition to traditional BI tools, start on very long and complex projects. It will depend on the number of entities and number of data flows, but I would say that in general, in 5 to 10 days, we are really able to go from the collection and structuring of data, specific settings, and full transfer of competencies to the end users. the idea in general is really to work through common workshops to do the specific settings together, so that you can really, let's say, get your hands on the tool very quickly and be fully autonomous right after the sign off of the project.
All right, perfect. And then Nick, I think this might be one for you, which is how does the cost compare to Sage Intacct?
I'm not sure actually. I'm not sure the costings for Sage Intacct. I know our costings. I can do a bit of research and come back to you on it. I'm not sure of the price levels. We've got sort of various white papers showing the sort of strengths of Odoo, the strengths of Sage Intacct, to compare the two systems. So yeah, if I can get your email, I'll get those over to you after the call, if that's okay.
I'll send that information to you afterwards, Nick.
Thank you.
Alex, and then final question for you, which is what's the level of autonomy for end users in EMAsphere?
Yeah. First of all, support at EMAsphere is fully free. Maintenance is included, hosting, security, and so on and so on. So this is really the idea of a SaaS platform. We have 10,000 clients on the platform and a free support. So our goal is, of course, to deliver on the fact that you will be fully autonomous on the platform. It's really a platform that has been designed for the business, by the business. So I would say 100%. And our consultants are not IT guys, they are business guys, former financial controllers, and so on. So 100%.
All right, perfect. And I think we can probably end it there then.
Cheers, guys. Thank you very much for your time.